Thank you all for joining us today. We've heard a lot about the entertainment options that we're going to have this fall. So let's talk now about the stuff that goes in between the entertainment. Since we are the Columbus AdFed, let's talk about advertising a little bit. And so we'll pose the first question of our all-star panel to Tom Griesdorn here to my left, your right. Tom, the Chief Research Officer for CBS Corporation, was quoted by Ad Age recently as saying, quote, I want to get this right, viewer behavior and attitudes are a better predictor of what people buy and what makes them buy than demographics ever were. So my first question to you is, are things like the 18 to 49 demographic and Nielsen rating still the dominant force in how advertising is bought and sold these days?
Thank you, David Poltra. Whether we like it or not, I think the best way to answer that is that the barometer and the yardstick is still Nielsen. And I were discussing that at lunch today. They're still the yardstick, so we get judged in the agencies, and most of our network and spot business comes to us with specific requests, i.e. 18 to 49, 25 to 54. So I think it's difficult for them, the agencies, to take the time to investigate. We have plenty of material. We have research gurus in this room everywhere. We have the psychographics and we have behavioral studies that are probably a better predictor and indicator of how people watch TV and who watches TV, but many agencies don't take the time to ask for that. On the local level, I think we have a great opportunity to tell our stories, respectively, as we all tried to do today up on the screen. We can go in, chat with the client, talk about what is going to move their product, and kind of shift the scope a little bit from the norm. The Nielsen rating book, where you just open it up, point to a number, and make a buy.
Very good. My second question goes to Tony D'Angelo, who's the Director of Sales at WSYX, ABC6, and Fox 28 here in town. Tony, according to the latest AdMall local ad sales forecast, which all of you received today, 25.8% of TV managers said in June that it's easier to sell online or digital advertising than it was at the beginning of the year, thankfully. And 40% of TV account executives share this view. How have you used your website and your mobile smartphone apps to provide integrated solutions to potential advertisers?
Well, okay, first, if 25% of the sales managers responded to that, that means we're all here. And if you had 25% said it's easier and 40% of the salespeople, share hot means 10% of us said it's easier to sell, right? Doesn't make sense? I'll save that later. We are doing a lot of things, as is everybody on this panel. You know, people here today are selling television, newspaper, coupons, direct mail, internet sites, social media applications, and smartphone applications, and mobile coupons. So we have on our websites, we are selling sponsorships there along with streaming video. We sell brand extensions of products that we have on our air. We're, as a company, investing heavily in mobile coupon opportunities, because the research shows that there's a tremendous shift in the way that people access the internet with smartphones. And I know if I asked the people out there today, most of you did not have a smartphone 3 or 4 years ago. And it's the last link for someone when they're doing a purchasing to have that smartphone with them. And research that's even in your brochure that you handed out today supports that there's so many companies out there that want to do that last link. So that's one of the things we're doing very heavily to invest in that, and we see that we're ahead of the curve on it, and it's going to be a great opportunity for companies that are looking for ways to tap into that market.
Very good. Interesting, Lance. According to the 2011 Audience Interest and Attitude Study from Adology Research, 73.8% of TV watchers aged 18 to 34 believe social media is a good way to learn about a product or business. Nearly 1 in 4 strongly agree with that. How are the CW network and other LIN stations building engagement for the upcoming fall TV season?
Well, if there's any one network in this case that would be, let's say, born for social media, it would be the CW, and with WWHO, and how we interact then with the audience. Because if we don't have a news department, we use our digital resources to engage our audience through our host. Well, to give you an idea, a few years ago when we first had, quote, the face of the station, they were someone who made personal appearances and did the interstitials on the station. But now they're heavily involved through Facebook and Twitter, actually communicating directly with our viewers and engaging them, driving them to the website, and then through the marketing we have over 40 videos a month that are posted that are for content to try to grab that audience, to bring them to that, and keep them engaged with us, not just for the shows on the air, but also as a source of information about the entertainment media and all sorts of things with the thing. And so that's how it's kind of evolved for us, and with the CW, when your demographic is women 18 to 34, you're looking for all sorts of different new resources to our new events, contests, other ways to interact with your audience. And it's becoming more and more crucial every year. In fact, our company has even changed its name from Lynn Television to Lynn Media to encompass how important the various digital resources and websites and all the technologies are going. So.
And the CW network is also baking some social media aspects in directly to a couple of their shows this fall too.
Yes, they do. With the live shows that are going to be coming with that, they'll have people interacting with contest and with just becoming part of the show. So it's not just a matter of sitting back and watching TV. We're getting people to respond and everything. I think all the stations these days realize that people don't wait to contact the station if they see something that they don't like. They don't wait till the next morning. You'll get it on your website almost immediately. And with Facebook and Twitter and the other resources that we have, and with marketing aspects, that it just continues to explode, and it's just kind of overwhelming what we can do.
And those of you with local newscasts, so you can actually hear about Andrea Cameron talking about how she needs to cut her bangs, or Kevin Ray talking about something else through Twitter. That's where you can watch the behind the scenes of what's actually going on in newscasts when the commercials are rolling, that sort of thing. So all kinds of ways that all of you are really embracing the social media aspect of it, and that's why we say more screens, more opportunities for today's panel. So thank you very much for that. Very interesting. The fourth question today goes to Dan Bradley, who's the VP and General Manager of NBC4 here in town. Dan, boy, what a great year it's going to be for you in 2012. You have the Summer Olympics year, you got the Super Bowl, and that's what's on the NBC stations. All of us will have the presidential election year coming up. And while these events are usually positive for TV ad revenue, my question is, how are local advertisers and media buyers impacted by the number of avails that might get snatched up by all the political parties and candidates and issues during the political year?
It's a great problem to have. It's wonderful living in a purple state. We find ourselves on the battlefield once again, and probably will be for the foreseeable future. In terms of the political season, it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yes, it's nice to have Brinks trucks arriving to deliver all the campaign money. By the same token, we have a lot of relationships with a lot of local businesses who depend on us to get their message out. So the smart ones understand the cyclical nature of the election season, but I assure you that all of our AEs spend an awful lot of time with local clients, helping them understand exactly what's going on, because the crowd out that you see, well, anybody who watches television in this market, between about September 20th through Election Day on any given year, you get inundated. The messages are just so pervasive. As far as the big events, Super Bowl or Olympics, those are actually great opportunities for local clients to put their product or their service out there and introduce it to a whole different level of viewing. And so there's the crowd out issue is not quite the same problem with the big events, but certainly the price is. But for those that are willing to pay, exposure, a 30-second local exposure in a Super Bowl and Olympics it's a significant opportunity for a local company, and there are plenty that step forward and take advantage of that.
And Tracy wanted me to also remind you we have digital too, right?
Absolutely. It's a great business. It's a great way for us to push people to our second channel. It's a great way to push more people onto the web as an opportunity for selling, which just opens up where we all need to be getting to down the road anyhow.
Our next question goes to Tom Ryland, who's the president of WOSU Public Media. And Tom, thank you very much for hosting this event for today. What a great studio. Don't you think this is very nice? Tom, we ran a little video before we got started here today. We talked about the audience interest and attitude study from Adology, which indicates that 6 out of 10 U.S. adults think, quote, they think more favorably of the companies that underwrite public broadcasting, and what a lucrative audience that can be. How is funding for public television changing, and how will it change in the years ahead, and how can advertisers tap into this lucrative audience?
Well, thanks, Lee. First of all, I'd like Dan to send that Brinks truck a couple blocks south on Olentangy River Road, where we are at Fawcett Center. Of course, we're a little distinctive compared to everybody else here. We are a nonprofit, non-commercial, and so we have certain rules by the FCC of what you can or can't say during underwriting. But we also have very strong brands, and PBS has been rated every year for the last 6 years one of the most trusted brands in America. We have an NPR station as well that has gained audience every year for the last 10 years, and now we have about 32 million nationwide who are listening to NPR every week. So we have that. We also have this local connection, you know, and I'll give a plug for where you are at WSU COSI. We do probably 100 forums in this facility every year that are broadcast about the major issues facing this community. We partner with commercial brethren here on this table to do some of these. We do congressional debates and all kinds of things. So I think our future is related to our connection to the community as usual, but even more so than in the past, and using and leveraging those strong brands. We are known as, you know, as WSU Public Media, and there's a reason for that, is that when we talk to advertisers about underwriting on our stations, we're not talking about TV or radio or online, or through our e-newsletter, or our airfare, or our print publications. We talk about everything. And we have a lot of advertisers who like to be affiliated with our brand and reach out to the affluent and educated audience that we reach out to. So thank you. There's
been some discussion that I have read about PBS actually allowing the insertion of actual commercials in the middle of shows, and is that something we're likely to see anytime real soon?
Well, we don't do commercials. Okay.
Right.
What they're talking about is using a commercial model that has been very effective for many years, and finally PBS is catching up to that, and that is after the end of a show, starting the next show immediately without the multiple minutes of breaks in the middle of what we call interstitials. And so, and then having a break later on into the show that provides the promotional spots, the underwriting credits, and other things that is provided. So that's what they're talking about right now.
Okay.
And that's probably going to be sampled this fall.
Interesting. This is going to be a question for everyone on the panel here. This is talking about the 3 screens that you see above you. I'll start with you, Tom. What is the biggest opportunity and the biggest challenge for broadcast TV in the years ahead, in your mind?
I think we've all touched on it. It's the multitude and complex opportunities we have of choice. The 3 screens up on the big screen, mobile devices, how we use that, how do we convert people to, how do we get them back to the TV set is the biggest challenge that we have on the local side. We still need to train people to go to the elephant that eats the big hay. That's the TV station if we want to make those dollars on the political side. And we have to use all of these platforms, everything that's available, be it digital, be it laptop, be it iPad, anything, to bring them back to the tube. Because they can get it anywhere, get information anywhere. We just need them to get to the tube. We're all trying to do the same thing on this panel.
Dan, would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I would, from a technological side, I think mobile digital television, which 4 of the stations, I think, in the market right now are currently operating on and passing through a signal, is an incredible opportunity for us once we can come to some type of agreement with the folks who make the devices that'll be sitting in people's purses and front seats of cars or whatever. But I think the single biggest opportunity that we have, quite frankly, as a local media, is our connection to the local community. And the more that we can ingrain ourselves and embed ourselves in this community and bring value to it, both on a large wholesale basis with our primary broadcast, but also on our different niche ways that we can serve them, that is our single greatest opportunity for survival and a sustaining business relationship. And that's figuring out as many different ways as we can to raise the value of our of what we do on whatever screen we're using in terms of its relationship with the community.
Tom, Tom Ryland, you come at it from a slightly different angle, but what's your take on that?
Obviously, with Tom and Dan, I agree fully. As I talked about, our local connection is critical, and I think for us, it's a distinctive angle on this. I think we want to bring more depth to whatever we do. There's not many people or many organizations doing historical documentaries, and we're doing, 6 hours on Columbus, on the history of Columbus, and one premiering in October, Columbus Neighborhoods, and we hope to continue that series for years to come. So we're looking for the distinctive thing that we can provide as a public service model, a public media organization that the commercial folks cannot or do not have the time, and they're, everybody's busy, and we love the daily news. We don't do daily news, but we want to bring some perspective to what we do, so do it a little bit differently.
And then you have the issue of having 2 stations, not just one. So does that pose additional challenges or additional opportunities, or both?
Well, both. First, it's about the content. If you asked your question, where do you see it 15 years down the road, one of the challenges that we all face is also who's going to own that content and how they're going to put it out to the people. So the network affiliate relationship is a delicate balance that we don't know what it'll be like 15 years from now. So if you don't have content, people aren't going to go to any screen. And the funny thing is about technology is the movie Wall Street was on last night. I don't know if anyone saw it, but that movie was made in 1987, and Gordon Gekko had a Sony Watchman. And he was excited that he could watch TV in the palm of his hand. And so 27 years later, people can watch TV in the palm of their hand by using a smartphone. So it's just a different delivery mechanism that's been out there. So as far as really, if you don't have content, people won't go to any screen. And how we push out our information, we got to take advantage of how people use these smartphones, take advantage of tablets, how they'll put that out there, and also protect against some of the relationships we have with program providers. So we're the exclusive provider for those programs, and people will find us. One thing that I think is kind of funny is technologically, television stations, we're streaming, people are excited to hear, oh, we stream now, we're streaming commercials. Well, we've been streaming since about 1945. We're wireless. We have one antenna that puts out our signal instead of antennas all over the place. We don't hide it by like a tree like they do in Dublin, so you can't see the Verizon cell phone tower. And we're still a very great and dynamic industry, broadcasting is. And, but we should be around 15 years. I hope so, because that's when I probably will retire.
Thanks, Tony, and Lance. I mean, you deal with a lot of different markets, Columbus being one of them. How does Columbus stack up in terms of the way in which we execute social media or streaming or the smartphones and things of that nature? I mean, are there markets that do it better? Are there markets that don't do it as well? Or what do we do well here?
Well, for us, in the case of things like the face, and Lindsay has her job cut out for her, but with coming up with new and not just reacting to the market as it is right now, but anticipating and being prepared for the new delivery sources that we're going to have. Content is crucial, but we will have to then make the tweaks and prepare to make the tweaks to make each of the new forms of delivery to be appealing. So that and so in the case with the CW affiliates and the My Network affiliates in our markets, since we don't have the emphasis quite on news, we do things with the network shows, with the syndicated shows, perhaps even more than your traditional big three, 4 station markets. So that's why we try to just interact, make people feel and give them some sense of personal ownership, and to make the way that we do that to help make it unique and to drive them to us as their resource for that programming, whereas they may be able to get it somewhere else. Again, it's a matter of the marketing.
And Columbus is executing that pretty much as well as any other market, would you say, or maybe not? We still have some room to grow yet.
Well, there's always room to grow. I think everyone here, you can't rest on your laurels for a moment, because it's just an ongoing battle, and not just against competition in your own media, but also the other media. So Columbus does pretty well. I think they do well. There are some other markets have more emphasis in certain areas, but all in all, I think Columbus is really trying to be proactive and trying to keep up and to anticipate and to work for the new technologies.